Have you ever noticed that the more seriously you think about life, the harder it is to feel connected to others? That the deeper your thoughts become, the more shallow conversations start to feel. If you've experienced this, you're not imagining it. History shows us that society has always been uneasy with deep thinkers, not because they are wrong, but because they reveal truths others aren't ready to confront. From Socrates to Hypatia, from Giordano Bruno to Hannah Arendt, thinkers who dared to see the world differently were often mocked, silenced, or even persecuted. What unites them is not failure of intelligence, but the discomfort they created. But why does this discomfort arise? Why do people instinctively resist those who think too deeply? The answer lies in how our minds protect our sense of self. Think about it. When you meet someone stronger than you, you may admire their discipline. When you encounter someone wealthy, you may envy them, but you still see their success as external. Strength and wealth don't fundamentally shake your identity. But intelligence works differently. Our sense of who we are is tied to our beliefs, opinions, and understanding of reality. When we meet someone who questions what we take for granted, it feels personal, as if they are not just challenging ideas, but challenging us. Psychologists call this the mirror effect. A deep thinker acts like a mirror, reflecting back the limits of those around them. And most people would rather look away than face their own inadequacies. This explains why a quiet, thoughtful person can make a room uneasy without saying much at all. Their presence alone disrupts the fragile comfort of shared assumptions. Instead of sparking curiosity, intelligence often provokes resistance. Instead of inspiring admiration, it can trigger insecurity. History shows us this pattern over and over again. It isn't arrogance that isolates deep thinkers. It's the human tendency to defend the ego. Think about your own life. Have you ever tried to share a meaningful idea in casual conversation, only to be met with blank stares or nervous laughter? Have you noticed how quickly people change the subject when discussions move from gossip to philosophy? That's not coincidence. It's a defense mechanism. Our brains are wired for comfort, not for truth. Neuroscience even confirms this. Studies show that when people feel intellectually threatened, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, activates as if facing danger. In other words, being confronted with uncomfortable ideas can feel like a survival threat. Why would this be? Evolution gives us the answer. For most of human history, survival wasn't about being the smartest. It was about belonging to the tribe. Being accepted meant safety. Standing out meant risk. Our ancestors depended on conformity far more than originality. So when a thinker questions the norms of a group, they disrupt the tribal harmony. Even if their ideas are brilliant, they trigger instincts that see them as a threat rather than an asset. This explains why deep thinkers often thrive in private conversations but struggle in larger groups. Alone, their ideas can be appreciated. In public, they disrupt social status and make others feel insecure, leading to resistance, mockery, or exclusion. And in the modern world, this tension has only grown stronger. Social media amplifies voices that are confident, simple, and emotionally charged, not voices that are subtle, careful, or nuanced. A viral slogan travels faster than a thoughtful argument. Shallow certainty spreads wider than deep reflection. This is the paradox of intelligence. The more someone seeks truth, the harder it becomes to fit into a world that prefers comfort. Philosophers have long warned us about this burden. Arthur Schopenhauer argued that intelligence isolates not because thinkers choose solitude, but because society pushes them toward it. He believed most people are guided by the will to live, seeking comfort, pleasure, and survival. But philosophers and intellectuals often develop what he called the will to truth, a relentless desire to understand reality, even if it's painful. Most people avoid discomfort. Deep thinkers chase it. That difference creates an unbridgeable gap. The more you understand human nature, the harder it is to laugh at illusions. The more clearly you see the fragility of life, the harder it is to pretend that small talk or status games truly matter. And so the thinker drifts towards solitude, not because they dislike people, but because people are uncomfortable with them. But Schopenhauer did not see this as a curse without remedy. He believed that while intelligence creates isolation, it also offers unique rewards. The thinker can learn to embrace solitude, to find fulfillment in art, philosophy, and self-reflection, rather than in constant social validation. Perhaps the challenge, then, is not to fight against isolation, but to transform it into a space of creativity and clarity. Because while society may resist uncomfortable truths, history also shows us that it is those very truths that move humanity forward. So the next time you feel disconnected because of the way you think, remember, isolation isn't a sign of weakness. It's often a sign that you're seeing more deeply than most people dare to. And in the long run, the world has always needed those willing to think what others fear to face.